All right. Soul Catcher Simp, how do you do? I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing pretty good. I just read a new Black Company book called Lies Weeping, and it was fucking awesome. Okay, this book was really fun and spooky and mysterious. And Glenn Cook, you awesome motherfucker. Lies Weeping is a new chronicle of Black Company. It's the first book of A Pitiless Reign, which is a new story, a new series of Black Company books that follow Soldiers Live, where the original Black Company books ended. The analysts are POV, our narrators are Arcana and Shook Rat. I'm guessing that's Arcana and Shook Rat, or actually, no, this one's got booba. This one's got boobies, and she's often referred to as the boob monster. So actually, scratch that, reverse it. That's Arcana. That's Shook Rat. and, they are our narrators. They're our main characters. We also have a POV from Chevetya or Krokvetya, Chevetya the New, Croker inside of this demigod Chevetya as he flies through time, absorbing, learning, and sometimes interacting with the past. I thought this was a beautiful book. I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, I think the last 60 or 70 pages, that's where it really just became a book I knew that I would love on the same level as the original Black Company books because of the atmosphere, because of the setting. The Black Company are in Hassan, the land of unknown shadows, and things start getting strange, right? There are weird signs being posted everywhere saying gothic fucking things on them, veiled threats, veiled prophecies, straw dolls being nailed to people's houses, people's doors. And Sovereign, who is the captain at that point, sends Shook Rat and Arcana on a scouting mission to try to figure out what the hell's going on. Is there some merciless fate lying in wait for the company? Like, we already know that there's monkeys going insane. Monkeys are acting super mischievous, and they seem to be being led by a croaker in a skin suit, which is the old Chevetya in the body of Croker, because in order for Croker to have become Chevetya, they had to kind of do a swap. Croker inhabited the form of Chevetya, and the Chevetya god thing inhabited the form of the old Croker man thing. And the weird skinwalker Croker is doing some really bizarre things. One of the most gripping parts of this entire book is when Lady and Howler and Shook Rat and Arcana and this new character called Dickon, who is also mysterious. Everyone's mysterious. I love all of the mysteries of Glenn Cook's prose, especially his characters, and even more in this book, the settings. Oh my god, dude! But they track down this skinwalker Croker, and he's overpowered. One of the girls has like a knife to his throat, about to fucking kill him, and the lady's like, no, just let him go, he's harmless. And the Croker thing doesn't say anything, but he looks kind of mad, like he's lost his mind. And at first you're thinking maybe philosophical things like that who was once a god, when he becomes mortal, just goes mad. Like, why? Like, mad with the state of the world, mad with the actual physicality of mortality, like mad just because madness isn't inherent in godhood anyway. So like you put the brain of a god into the brain of a man, into the body of a man, that man will almost inevitably go insane. There's a lot of philosophical things there, but then we realize that that's even deeper. There's like a big plan to it. And my favorite part of this whole book, yes, it's the last 60 to 70 pages. It's some of the best stuff that you will ever find in the Black Company. So Shook Rat, Arcana, and this cook named they call him Uncle. He's this like chiseled dude who like rough and like, he's a badass. He's a master swordsman. He's real like industrial, technical, cold, but he's a very interesting character in the way that he does treat the girls as if they're his nieces. Like there's a good familial kind of dynamic between them, and they're being watched over by this Raven, who everyone thinks is Croker, but we find out is Soul Catcher, and we'll talk about Soul Catcher later. You know we will. I'm the Soul Catcher simp, and my God, when I get excited reading a book, sometimes I get like really animated and clap, but most of the time I'm like snapping my fingers for some reason, like dapping. I don't know where I got that from. We're like, yes, yes, she's here, baby. The raven that they think is Croaker, it's this massive raven. It's actually Soul Catcher who is guiding them into this area. They traverse, they explore this like uninhabited world of dead things, of dead atmospheres. Sometimes there's no one there at all. There's nothing. There's no life. And there's this weird man coming out of a fucking shepherd's hut with his dog. And you can tell that man's not really human. That man is more demon than human. They travel through this petrified landscape, this orphaned landscape. Because yes, the book is called Lies Weeping, but not a lot of people ever call it by its second name, which is featured here, Lies Weeping, Volume 1 of the Black Company Saga, A Pitiless Reign, or The Orphan's Tale. So it's the saga name, not just Lies Weeping. Another name for the saga, apart from A Pitiless Reign, is The Orphan's Tale. Now, of course, Arcana and Shukrat are Varroshk orphans. They are the last of their kind. They've been orphaned into this company, which is like a very strange thing to be adopted by. Hell, Arcana often refers to Croaker as their adoptive father, who has orphaned his body to run around wild. Like that's another psychological, beautiful layer of this book too. They're hunting down a mad, I don't know, trickster ex-god thing running around in the skin of their new father figure, right? Like that in and of itself, like psychologically speaks volumes. But it's the orphan's tale. The orphan's story. Lies Weeping is a book about orphaned ruins. Lies Weeping is a book about orphaned memories. When Shvetya is going through time and history, trying to find out more about his beloved wife, Lady, trying to find more about Thud Brunch, the Dominator, trying to find out more about Dickon, this new character who Lady abandons at his fucking feet, right? Like he's trying to figure out more things, but there's this detachment from the history that he's looking at. There's something orphaned, and there's an orphan quality, an isolated quality, especially to Shvetya's POV. His POV chapters often feel like information dumps, like there's something orphaned there, there's something isolated there, there's something abandoned there. Like memories themselves are the abandoned present. If you want to speak very poetically about what the past is the abandoned present. It's what the present abandons. The present abandons the past. The present orphans the past. So when Shvetya's looking back at the past, he's looking back at the present's orphans. Lies Weeping is a book about orphaned histories. And yes, when I knew that this book was a new favorite, it's definitely of the same caliber, the same quality as the original 10 Black Company novels. It is in the last 60 to 70 pages when Arcana, Shukrat, and Uncle, and also, Soul Catcher in the form of a raven, make it to a place called Burnishing Sunrise. And they go there with all of these shadows, like all of these like Anku from Ports of Shadow, that three-eyed kind of cat thing. There's a bunch of those here, as well as like squirrels and mice, kind of more fey, or at least at first they seem like pleasant wouldn't be the best word to use for unknown shadow type creatures, but they do seem a lot more warm and comforting than the shadows that we're used to. That's just at first. They have murder on their minds, especially when we see what has happened inside Burnishing Sunrise. Now, at Burnishing Sunrise, they first see this amphitheater, and Glenn Cook really makes this setting come to life. This like abandoned, desolate amphitheater. Imagine like how frozen it is, and all this snow coming down through like holes and cracks in the walls, through openings everywhere. And there's this well, this golden well that provides power and magic to those who are attuned to it, to those who can receive it, to those who can fill themselves up with it. And of course, Arcana and Shukrat do that, both with like varying results, right? Like Shukrat, I think is well, she had already been like a minor sorcerer before then, and she was able to handle it better. And of course, the shadows took an immediate liking to her. They were far more friendly with her than they were with anybody else. Whereas Arcana is dealing with some serious trauma from Soldiers Live. She was brutalized by a lot of different people because she made a stupid mistake, and she's still dealing with that trauma. So like what happens when she feels this almost limitless power? She considers uh, being merciless, pitiless, without limit, right? Because like that part of herself can never heal. I thought Glenn Cook actually did pretty well with exploring the trauma of Arcana, especially since the trauma is something that Arcana is trying to ignore mostly. But there's that well there, and you can already imagine the amphitheater and like how echoey it is with the squawk of the raven and the shadows bustling around and this newfound power. We were all. I think the Black Company is largely about the deification of women inside a desperate world of nihilistic, suicidal men. I think that's mostly what the Black Company is about at its most philosophical, and that's why I connect with it so much. Like I love this universe, and I love this world, and I especially love basically every woman that has been featured by Glenn Cook in the Black Company books. So I mean, I think that Shukrat and Arcana, these two Varashka girls, getting all this power from the well, that's a deification of sorts, isn't it? And it's not the deification that normally happens in the Black Company. The deification that normally happens in the Black Company is that a desperate, nihilistic, suicidal man deifies a woman, whether they're right or they're wrong. Like Silent and Raven would deify Darling the White Rose, or Croker himself would deify the lady, and to a lesser extent, Soulcatcher would be deified by the reader or by Willow Swan or somebody like that. Women are almost always exclusively deified by men throughout these books. This is very different. Shukrat and Arcana, it's kind of baptismal in a weird way at that well. And there's a deification process in my eyes, but these two women are being deified by maybe not like the fantasy genre itself. Maybe that's too meta or postmodern a lens to use to view this book with, but they are being deified by something like a lot more virtuous, a lot more mysterious, and since it's not coming from a man with a heart on, a lot more real, devastating, and ultimately empowering. Like what deifies the two women who are at the center of Lies Weeping is the story itself, is Burnishing Sunrise, is this extremely mysterious place full of magic, full of old magic, and full of some bad magic too, because they leave that area and they go into another one through the drowned city, through the captured dawn, to the Hall of Gathering Dead. Now, the Hall of the Gathered Dead, it's and in this hall, man, it's like thousands of dead people. Some of them have these bite marks in them that you learn are from the skin-walking croaker thing. Cannibal. The skin-walker croaker thing is, I think, really spooky and terrifying. You can imagine him munching down on these desiccated corpses who were murdered by bad magic a very, very long time ago. And once again, this entire drowned city of Burnishing Sunrise, like Lies Weeping just makes me feel like I'm there. And it's one of the most like adventurous, morbid, gothic, but fantastical atmospheres ever. It's one of my favorite places in a fantasy book. Like once we hit that area, or to be more precise, once they get to like the night before they go adventuring and exploring Burnishing Sunrise, when all the shadows show up, I got this feeling of this momentum that that if you read enough Glenn Cook, you're like, oh man, something really cool and interesting is about to happen. And in Lies Weeping, we got to go see this awesome place, and we're not even done because past the Hall of Gathered Dead, there's this what looks like a library at first, but then the shadows inform the girls, and the girls kind of learn for themselves. And their uncle points it out too that it's actually like a summoning room. Like this is where the big evil wizard of Burnishing Sunrise did all the bad magic that killed everybody there. And in there, there's all these like archaic, arcane, esoteric clues to a larger story. The Book of Names makes sense. That's the thing that Dickon was a spy and it was sent to look for. But Dickens also has this fucking almost a parasite inside of him of Long Shadow. And Dickon, part two, I think, will have Dickon make a little bit more sense to me. I thought he was great here, but I think I think he's a character that will get better and better. But he was originally assigned to infiltrate the Black Company in order to find something called the Book of Names. And the Book of Names was missing from the library. The Croaker thing stole it, but the Croaker thing wasn't there for the Book of Names. The Croaker thing was there to go and hijack the well and become this this all powerful fucking magic user. But the girls beat him there, and then you get this awesome like cat and mouse chase thing where they're like trying to find the Croaker Skinwalker, and of course the book ends on a beautiful cliffhanger. Well, first of all, like they pick up on false clues because these are like young girls, they're young women, and there's a certain amount of naivety. They're not Black Company veterans. We're not following veterans this time. We're not even following really strategic minds. We might be following tacticians in the making, but right now they are not that. So like they pick up on false clues, and like Shook Rat in the shadows thinks that he's already left the building, and then out there she's like, no, he hasn't. He's going back to the well. And Arcana and Uncle, after Arcana like heals Uncle, who had been hurt by the Croaker thing, like by using the magic of the well, she heals Uncle. They've also figured out that his primary goal was to hijack the well, and Arcana is waiting for him, and she holds him back, and she attunes herself to the well, and she tries to get all the power that she can, and it's such a visceral fucking magical fucking duel of catharsis, because she's thinking about the trauma. She's thinking about when she was fucking gang raped by asshole soldiers who were pissed off that her fucking asshole Varosh family member went and killed some of their stupid asshole friends. Right? Like she's thinking about that moment, and she's putting all of it into that, and it's so cathartic. And oh man, we have to remember this is grimdark. It might be foreshadowing. If Arcana if Arcana has all this power and could turn, well, she'd be a very formidable villain. And if we know that Soulcatcher has already inserted herself into the girl's adventure, into the orphan story, I think Soulcatcher could be a deeply manipulative kind of woman. And if this orphan is looking for some type of mother figure, I think that Soulcatcher could provide that in demonic spades. So, like when I see the catharsis there, it it breaks my heart because of the trauma that is propelling the magical catharsis. But it also scares me because that's a great amount of strength directed at a villain, but she could easily direct it at anybody else. You know, um, I think that I think that Arcana is going to be a very interesting character to follow here. I liked both girls equally, Shook Rat and Arcana. And the Croaker thing stumbles back outside, and Shook Rat is there waiting because she had learned from Howler and Lady how to use the fireballs, right? How to use the triggers on them, and how to speak the telecure, magical incantations that are needed to fire the fireballs. And she's waiting and she's waiting, and it's like the only time she ever paid complete full attention to combat training is with the Lady and Howler, learning how to use fireballs. And she's got She's got the Croaker thing in her sights, and she fires, and then she fires, and then she fires, and then the book ends. Beautiful, beautiful ending, beautiful cliffhanger, a beautiful story. Now, I think that it's extremely good, and I think that it is a Black Company classic. I love it just as much as I do the original classic books. It means a lot to me. It's going to mean even more to me the longer that I think about it. At first, though, you are worried. I was worried as a reader too. At first, I was like, oh no, Glenn Cook, man, this old fucking man has decided at this point in his life to write a quartet, to write a new series of Black Company books from the perspective of young, beautiful blonde girls. Oh no. Oh no. Page 3, we're already calling Arcana the boob monster. Oh no, Glenn. But he pulls it off. He absolutely pulls it off. Arcana and Shook Rat just fucking fly off the page on their fucking broomsticks or whatever. They fly off the page. They fly into my heart, and they feel real. I love the Bimbet and the Boob Monster. Honestly, that's what it is. The Adventures of the Bimbet and the Boob Monster. It's really great, but the characters to me are full of all the qualities of the true fantasy orphan. I find within them a lot of heart, a lot of sadness, a lot of misplaced ambition, a great capacity to love, but an inability to figure out how to accept it or even how to fully give it, especially not to each other. I see within them like the ultimate fantasy orphans. And I think I mean that in the largest way possible too, because I think that they are the kinds of characters, that have been orphaned by the fantasy genre itself in a large way too. Oh, the back of the book. I think this cover is really cool, but the best thing about the dust jacket is this, let's see, without the glare, this Eliza Dushku fucking blurb on the back. She says the Black Company is vast in scope, yet remains fundamentally relevant through the morally ambiguous choices it presents at every turn. Eliza Dushku. What a flex, Lies Weeping, having Eliza, who, if you don't know, me being the absolute anxious millennial is very upset with you, but Eliza Dushku is I don't know, probably the most beautiful woman that ever walked this earth, and she was attached to play the lady in an adaptation, a television adaptation of the Black Company that never actually went into production, but she was attached to play the lady, and there's no better casting. Like, if you're not familiar with her, look her up. Even like now, dude, she's still one of the most beautiful women ever. But look her up, like at her peak, late '90s to mid 2000s, or all the 2000s, right? Like her peak was pretty large. She's honestly one of the most beautiful women on the planet. This is a major flex, and also I know now she does a lot of work with experimental drugs in psychiatry to help people deal with complex PTSD, like soldiers and stuff like that. So I do think that it's nice having her blurb there, not just because she's hot, not just because she was attached to a Black Company show that never went anywhere, but also she's become an advocate for the mental health of veterans. So it's good to have that on a book like this. I saw that on the back and I was like, oh man. Not impressed with a Steven Erikson blurb or the Jeff Vandermeer one, but Eliza Dushku, I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Faith? Dude, yeah, okay. I forgot. I have a Faith tattoo. She played Faith on Buffy. Um, yeah, I'm a pretty devoted fan, so I was pretty happy with that. Okay, back to the actual like book analysis here. I'm sure no one cared about whatever I was just talking about. Arcana and Shook Rat, these are characters that really get to you, man. Really get to you. Glenn Cook, I think that the Black Company is largely uh, like made for men, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that also means that he's severely underrated when it comes to, I think, how he writes from a woman's perspective. I love Dreams of Steel. Water Sleeps is still to this day my favorite book of all time. and that one's narrated by Sleepy. So Sleepy, Lady, Arcana, and Shookrat. I love the psychologies of these women. I love the philosophies of these women. And what I love more than anything else is how distinct they are from each other. He does not have like a uniform view of anybody. Everybody has this uniqueness to them. But as a character study of these two blonde orphans, I found it riveting. I found it incredible. I found it full of fantasy, full of mystery, full of gothic terror, full of everything that I could have possibly wanted from a black fantasy book. And I'm shocked that Glenn Cook still has it in him. Like, he's still so fucking good. He's still a master. And I am so excited for more of these books to come out. And I'll be reviewing them like the first week that they do on this channel for as long as I have this channel. The next one is called They Cry. It comes out in November. I am salivating, frothing at the mouth for that motherfucker to be in my hands, because Lies Weeping was a masterpiece so far as I'm concerned. From where I'm looking, from my vantage point, it's a fucking masterpiece. There's so many different, like, I feel like Chevettia the New. I feel like there are so many different areas that I could like fly into, gaze into, and just analyze and interact with, engage with for a very long time. And yes, there was quite a bit of Port of Shadows clarifications, demystifications. Now, it wasn't fully spoon-fed to us. It wasn't fully made clear. But like, certainly Mischievous Reign was Lady, and we already knew that. My theory was that it was like a time-traveling lady, which it still technically could be, but it's looking like that's less and less the answer. In fact, it's looking like we're actually doing a lot of stuff there. It's looking like the reason why Lady was so unordinarily, incomprehensibly like drawn to this guy Croaker for no reason, the most beautiful woman in the fucking world, the most powerful person in the whole fantasy universe, was so drawn to this fucking simping medic in the Black Company. The reason that was, it seems to be hinted here that because when he goes back, he's trying to learn everything he can about his true love, the Lady. So he's like there almost all the time in the background, and sometimes the Senjaks notice him and stuff. And it might be that the Lady was making every decision with the idea that there was somebody watching her, but it's the presence of Croaker. It's his essence. It's his presence. He's watching her. So maybe she was so drawn to Croaker because that presence has been there her entire life, watching from the future, from the background. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Lady right now has gone kind of AWOL. Loved the stuff with the Lady here. She is so fucking cool. I love the Lady. Oh my god. Lady, you rule. But her and Howler have taken Boo Boo, dead comatose daughter, basically dead daughter, back to the Granite Castle from Port of Shadows, where the Necromancer and Laisa lived. And it looks like she's going to attempt to necromance to bring Boo Boo back to life. It looks like she's going to do that. It's been very vague with the Lady, which is actually how I really like the Lady. Seeing her in these brief glimpses, and you always have to question her motives, you have to question her morality, you have to question a lot of things about the Lady. She's become a little bit threatening again. I mean, she never lost her threatening quality. Like, she was always kind of unpredictable. But then there's Soulcatcher. When you compare her to Soulcatcher, Lady is just virtuous through and through. And yes, Soulcatcher is here. Soulcatcher is constantly pestering and annoying Croaker as the new Chevettia, and they have like crow wars. They participate in a raid on the Lady and the Howler together to like tell her to like, we know you're up to something. Soulcatcher is constantly nagging at him, twisting him up psychologically, and Croaker knows that because like maybe 3/4 of the way through, Soulcatcher gets a lot more quiet. She gets she gets withdrawn, she gets quiet, and this new Chevetya knows that Soulcatcher is up to something, and that Soulcatcher is smart as fuck. Soulcatcher may be a trickster deity herself, or might as well be, and that she might certainly triumph if he doesn't figure out what her plan is. Well, we know that the reason that she was kind of absent near the end of the book was because she wasn't absent at all. That's a secret of Soulcatcher. She was actually with Arcana and Shukrat and Uncle Jean Go at the burnished sunrise as the Raven, masquerading as Croaker as the Raven. They all thought that the Raven was Croaker, and she's probably still there. Like she's embedded herself in this group, and I would love for Soulcatcher to have some conversations with the two orphan girls, the two orphan women. I would love for Soulcatcher to kind of tempt Arcana. I kind of said that earlier, but I think that would be really interesting to see. Or tempt Shukrat, because Glenn Cook can often do the opposite of what you think he's going to do. And oh, it's so exciting being around Soulcatcher. I'm the Soulcatcher simp, so I just devoured every bitchy fucking thing she had to say to Croaker. Just devoured it and like, step on me, fucking Dami mommy, do it. Maybe that's how we'll end this analysis. You watched this far. I'm clearly a babbling psychopath, and you just watched all of my thoughts about Lies Weeping, which is not the most popular book in the world. You had to go searching for this video. Not a very big channel. So, yes, of course, at the end, together, we're going to wish that Dami Mommy Soulcatcher would step on us. Like the fucking worms that we are, aren't we? Okay. Lies Weeping is, to me, it's brilliant. It's masterful, and I am almost overly confident in the idea that this is going to rival at least the books of the North and the books of the South. I don't think anything will ever be as good as Books of Glittering Stone. Those are straight masterpieces, basically every one of them, without fail. Like even a book like Bleak Seasons, which is deliberately broken, is deliberately broken because of PTS fucking D, and then also because Soulcatcher's a cunt. I love her so much, and I love that book so much. What was I even saying? Oh, I was saying that this stands a shot at being the second best arc in the entire Black Company. It stands a shot at being better than the original 3 books of the North and the 2 books of the South, plus the Silver Spike. This stands a shot like all together, because Lies Weeping is like fucking up there, dude. It's really good. And it felt so good to be around these characters again. And it does feel a little bit more modern, at least in its prose. Glenn Cook isn't really a static writer. He's dynamic. There are familiar ways that he writes and forms his characters, but this doesn't, like the original Black Company does feel like it was written in the 80s in a very good way. This feels like it was written in the 2020s in a really good way. I think that Glenn Cook is underrated in a lot of different ways. I think he's a very dynamic writer. I don't think he's a static one at all. But I loved this book so much. Lies Weeping. Oh God, I can't wait for the sequel. I can't wait to be around Arcana and Shukrat again. They're so lovable. Yeah, I'm a believer in Pitiless Rain. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.